So, y'all think you're on a rock, floating through some vast, empty vacuum, I guess, that we call space. And, go lay down. Go on, I already told you once. And, so the discussion or the debate is whether we're on a round rock in the floating through space, I guess, or a flat rock floating through space, I guess. Do you people realize how base this conversation would be? Is? You understand the stupidity of that debate? The ridiculousness? Did none of you question this stuff in 5th, 6th, 7th grade? All these questions you people are, all flat earth and all, even the, oh God, it's just so ridiculous. People never asked yourself those questions when you was in science class in school? And why are you asking them now? You didn't settle that debate in your mind? You didn't figure out what this is? Yeah, I know you didn't figure out what this is. That's very obvious, or else you wouldn't be debating whether we're a round rock or a flat rock. There is no rock. I know it's very hard to understand, and those of you that had watched my videos, if you could even grasp what's really going on here, weren't into sharing them much. Obviously. I think it's so funny somebody can put out a video about some idiotic crap, or put some stupid sensationalist headline on something, and or some bogus Nibiru, look, there's Nibiru in the sky video, and get thousands of views. At least, 300 to 500 right off the bat. Most people could put a video of themselves picking their nose, and they'd immediately just pick up a random 300 views on the YouTube. A lot of the stuff that I put out there, which is very valid and good information, I back everything up I do with, links and sources, etc. Video's been up over a month. I haven't even broken 100 views. So, there's really no point. And I've known that. I stretch myself every now and then and put some shit out there. Knowing that nobody really gives a fuck. And nobody is going to understand, even if I haven't even put half of it out there yet. I know this stuff because I've seen it. And that's how I know it. And that is very hard to convey to other people, other humans, because other humans don't believe in anything that they haven't experienced themselves. That's just our nature. And that's another reason why I come on YouTube for amusement, people. This is because I can't stand watch TV, and I get bored of playing video games or reading, or I do a little bit of everything all the time. It's just crazy. But you can only do so much, fiddling with the guitar or playing with the kitty cats or whatever. So I come on YouTube, see what's going on in the world and where people's minds are at. And most of the time I find it very amusing. Sometimes a little irritating, but I really don't let anything emotionally impact me, because I know it's all just external input, and where most of that input is coming from, I'm not associated with anyway. So Um, and I've been like that since I was a child, long before. When I came to YouTube, I didn't come here to search out my awakening on YouTube and learn and, whatever. I mean, not saying I haven't learned some stuff on, since I've been on the web. I won't say on YouTube. I mean, some of it's been from YouTube, but very little. But on the web, searching and researching different things, I've learned a lot. But when I came here, that's not what I came here for. I didn't make this channel so I could explore all the new ideas, because I just figured out that everything I'd been taught was bullshit. I figured that out a long time ago, long before the internet ever even existed, long before 911. My major awakening to false flags was Oklahoma City, because of personal relationship there. I worked in the Murrah building on the boilers and systems and stuff before it was blowed up. I was raised in Oklahoma City, lived there for 13 years. Anyway, point being, I came to search out what I could confirm through my own experiences, and then share that knowledge in any form that it came, even if it came from other people, as long as it coincided with what I have already known. The rock that I built my reality on long before, back in 93 and 94, thus my tag, Mindcrime 1994, was my soul quest, my final, what I consider my final spiritual awakening. I was well aware of the corruption of our government and the false flags and the lies and the deceit and the ignorant, uncommonsensical laws and just our natural society since I was little, and for other reasons of my own experience. I'm not like most people. I left home when I was 11 years old. By the time I was 15, I had 9 felony counts on my record. So that's how my life started. And that immediately ex-nayed me out of being part of quote-unquote society. I went through foster homes, treatment centers, this, that, juvenile center, you know what. And that ruins a person's future, okay, as far as being able to be fitting in to this machine. And I saw through the machine and the bullshit a long time ago, and I spent 20 years of angry rebellion against it. And it got me nothing but a whole bunch of prison time. To be truthful, I mean, my prison's charged for drugs and guns. I don't consider myself a criminal. I didn't consider myself a criminal back then. I was exercising my free right to liberty and to live. And I firmly believe I have the right to put in my body whatever I choose to put in my body, and no man can tell me it's illegal or unruly or immoral or whatever else. I'll decide that after I've had the experience, thank you. As with everything. So, anyway, that's just a little quick history, and that's about all I'm going to share. I know I said I would share some stuff, my Crossroads experience and stuff. I don't think there's no reason to get into any detail. I had shared that once before, years ago, on my Freemasonic Knowledge channel. And it stayed up for about a month, and it got less than 100 views. And I thought, and it was very personal. It was really revealing to experience the level of, Jonathan Kleck, he shares what his supernatural experiences were. I fully believed he experienced those things. I fully believe he believes he experienced those things. Supernaturally in his whole thing. And, it's of that, likes of that, even more bizarre than his, though. And most people, if I told them these experiences, they would suggest a straitjacket, mental health, or medication. Tell me I was hallucinating, or I must have been high, or whatever excuse that they could, justify it in their mind to write off the experience as some fabrication of my imagination. So, the world, I'm just getting a big kick out of the flat Earth thing, man. And the people that are in planes and high buildings and stuff doing the horizon, you don't understand the perspective of how small you are compared to how big the Earth is and how much curve you should be seeing, because you're used to seeing fake photographs of like the CGI ISS flyovers at night that they show you on the RT TV, or there's stupid fake spacewalks and you see this nice little curve of the Earth when actually the Earth would be so big you would not see the curve at all. Okay, it was so big. That's the lens that they're using, that curved lens. Okay, no, the Earth isn't that curved. But yes, the horizon does have a curve to it. And an artist, my eye, I'm very sensitive, being an artist all my life since I was very little. My dad was a draftsman, and he taught me how to draw in basic perspective and stuff when I was like 5 years old. You know, around the same time he taught me how to play chess. 5 and 6 years old. And I've been an artist all my life, and maybe I'll share some of my artwork in this little cast here. So some of these pieces maybe I'll put up here will be some of my work. Give you a little glimpse, and that's, you know, another personal share that I'll put out there. But I can see a curve, and people put their little drawn straight lines across the horizon and say, "Oh yeah, that's a trick." Your eye is automatically drawn to that thick line that's straight across the thing, and it actually blocks the horizon that's behind it. That actually does have a very slight curve to it. Now, I'm not sitting here advocating or saying that Earth is a round rock in space. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not. You should know, if you haven't watched my Real World series, do watch it, because I don't believe the Earth is flat or round. Okay, it's a construction. It's a construct. It's a simulation, and actually, anything outside your personal perspective within your reality bubble or cube doesn't exist. Okay, it really doesn't. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to see it or hear it or feel it or anything else, does it really fall? No, it doesn't, because the tree doesn't exist if there's no consciousness to perceive it. The same applies to everything around you, people. You're walking through what would be the equivalent of a Star Trek Next Generation holodeck. Okay, you just think it's real. It's not. I told you, go lay down. I mean it. Go lay down and quit frickin' bugging me. It's part of my irritation coming is from you, and I know. And you gotta watch out, people. The spirits will use your animals against you. They will. I'm telling you, they can work through animals, just like. And Jesus told you this. The story about the demons that recognized the legion. They are legion, and there was many, and they wanted cast out into the pigs so they could still exist on this plane of existence, because without a body they cannot stay here. Without a host, okay, they cannot stay here. And Jesus cast them out into the pigs, and then of course everybody killed the pigs, or the pigs drowned, or whatever however the story goes. I could look it up, but you look it up. If you don't know the dang story, read your Bible. So just watch out for your animals and be aware that they can be used to distract you at certain times. Zeph lets his dogs do. He used to do it really bad. Be on a roll. No offense, Zeph. No offense if you're listening. You probably aren't, but you know, I'm not saying anything bad. But you know what I'm talking about. You be honest with yourself. You be on a podcast. You be right on a roll, man. You be really into the spirit, into some truth, and all of a sudden something will happen with the dog or something, and it'd be like, tink, derailed. Derailed. So, beyond that, okay, apparently we made a nuclear deal. And of course, all the pundits are up against it. It's like, no deal would have been better than a bad bad deal, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the politics and the BS linguals roll on. Personally, I think the talks are good things. I think people need to do things this way, as far as on that scale, these governments and stuff. They need to come to agreements, even if some people think they're bad agreements. The agreements are better than guns and bombs and feeding the military-industrial complex and the stupidity of murder. I was working on a job last year, and it was at a Bridgestone plant in North Carolina. And the guy I was working with, he's a, decent guy, Southern Baptist fella, old fella, Vietnam veteran, Marine, engineer. That's why I work in case, I worked on boilers a lot of my life since I was young because my dad had a boiler business. And but we don't do repair and stuff nowadays. Nowadays we're into consulting and training. We do surveys, what's known as steam surveys or steam trap surveys, and energy evaluations on industrial plants to show them and sometimes redesign their blueprints, everything to improve and make their systems more economically functionable. So that's just a quick rundown. Anyway, so we're at this plant, and we spend time. Of course, we're in a motel. We go eat together after work, all that stuff, you do on the road with guys. And we got into some talks, as anybody who is around me is bound to get into, whether you want to or not, because I don't talk about frivolous bullshit. I'm not interested in frivolous bullshit. So whenever people get around me, and most people don't stay around me long because I'm too real for them, and they're like, "Oh, you're a downer, dude." And it's not, to me, it's not really about being to me, I don't, maybe because of the way I am, it's not an upper or downer. It just is. And it needs to be faced, whether you think it's depressing or maddening or whatever. That's life. But we had this discussion, and we're talking about war, of course, and all the killing he'd done in the military, and the justifications in these people's minds for their nation because they're so brainwashed. He believes in his heart, firmly believed that he was justified in his killing of other people because he was fighting for his nation. And I said, do you really think that when Jesus said, "Thou shalt not kill," they meant except for this, and reason? In other words, you think it's when you go in front of him, you're perfectly comfortable saying, "Yes, I killed other people in the name of my nation, America." And he believed that. He believes he's perfectly okay with that. And most Americans actually do. If they believe in God to begin with. But I'm talking about, he was supposedly a Christian and all this and that. And even now, he was willing to go back to war and kill more people in the name of his country, in the name of this corporation, this fictitious adaptation of what they call society. It's a fictitious adaptation of society. He thought he was perfectly justified and would be forgiven for killing in the name of that corporation. This is how misconstrued people are on their beliefs. Other people think that they're actually going to go with their bodies. Got into, or I didn't get into, somebody commented to me on one of my comments. And I put my comments out there. Some of them, again, there's no emotional content, people. I'm very calculated, have no doubt. My comments are there for a reason. They say things a certain way. I sometimes edit a comment 15 times to make sure it says exactly what I'm trying to express, the way I'm trying to express it, to get the response I'm trying to get. I treat everybody with respect on here. I always have. You get what you bring me. Okay? If you come at me with disrespect and rudeness, that's what you're going to get in return. Not that I care. That's just the type response I'm going to give you, because that's what you gave me. And we'll see where it goes from there. It usually draws out the trolls real quick. 3 or 4 comments, and you can see exactly what they're all about. Anyway, I kind of got off on a tangent. This whole thing is just called a tangent. How about that? Because I'm just rambling, and I see it's like 20 minutes in or whatever. So we'll cut it shorter here. A lot of stupid stuff in the news as always. Now here in Detroit, it's these people are nuts. They're nuts. There's 3 or 4 shootings every freaking day. And no, not every week, not every month, every day, people. Detroit is popping. Random drive-by shootings for no reason, just people get popped. Other gangbang land shootings. Other crazy people shootings. People losing it for no reason at all. It's always something. Within the last month, there's been 5 or 6 different shootings that happened at block parties with more than 100 people or better involved, and people just go off in the crowd shooting. Yesterday it was some guy, he got shot in the head. He was a gangbanger, and he happened to be responsible, or was thought responsible. He spent 300 days in jail awaiting trial, but then the trial got dismissed because of lack of evidence, because they accused him of shooting a guy last year at a block party. So this year he got capped at a block party. See what comes around? What goes around comes around, reaping what he sowed, huh? He thought he was scot-free when he beat the court system. No. The court system isn't the only way. If you're with Jesus, if you're truly walking with the Lord, you're going to be above that law anyway. That law won't have a hold on you. You're under grace, and that grace extends to the world around you, as long as you have faith. You got to keep the faith, though. If you give up the faith, then you've given up your power. This was put on trial for me just a couple years ago. A couple of people, that friends on here know about it, that I went through. And with our screwed up court system, it cost me thousands and thousands of dollars that I would never get back. Time, energy, not hundreds, but it seemed like hundreds. I tell you what, of trips to court, and I had to drive over 1,000 miles to court. Besides quick story. They came up here after 10 years on some warrant out of the blue. I hadn't been in hiding or nothing. I run my own business up here and everything. I'm in the public eye, in the newspaper, on the damn news and everything. I was. So, and they tried to accuse me of being a fugitive. I'm like, what are you talking about? I broke out all this. I'm a member of Chamber of Commerce, dude. What are you talking about? I'm not hiding from nobody. So anyway, what the deal was, my cousin had got busted with a meth lab. And he accused me. He tried to lay it on me. Of course, he went to trial, and they found him by the evidence guilty, and he went away for 8 years or whatever. So when he got out, and I already done my 10 years for meth. Don't even trip. I did my time back in the 90s. But anyway, they came to the door and got me, jailed, this whole thing, and I was like, hey, this was a complete stressful trial of faith for me, because the devil, the Lord, hit me with what I feared the most, and that was going back to prison. And out of the blue, all of a sudden, I'm being accused. They got no evidence whatsoever, and they know they got no evidence whatsoever, but they thought that off of his word that they could, even his testimony was a freaking joke. But it was a clown show, just like most courts I've ever been to in my life are clown shows. And many trips down there. I had to drive through crazy weather conditions. It was just a whole insane journey for a little over a year. Before we finally got down to the wire, they tried to make me take plea deals and everything. They use all their scare tactics. They try to drain you of all your resources and money. You're stuck. My lawyer was a piece of shit, as like they are, but I kept telling him, I said, you're going to see a miracle. I said, I have faith in my Lord, and he's not going to let me fucking go down for this, period. This just ain't going to happen. We're going to walk this through, and we're going to stick to it. And of course, he's, a lawyer. He's like, look at this clown. He's got faith in some invisible deity or whatever. Whatever he was thinking, I don't know, but he was laughing at us. But I told him, I said, watch. Sure enough, 3 days before the trial, the prosecution goes ahead and drops all charges. After they had already actually been dropped by a lower court, the prosecution had appealed that, taken it to the next higher court. I mean, it was crazy. They had no evidence, and they were pushing. It cost me over $25,000-$30,000 throughout this whole ordeal, besides just the hell and stress and emotional turmoil of it. But we kept our faith, and the Lord delivered us through it. Keep your faith, people. Ignore all this crap that's out here. It's external. It's a distraction. And especially these stupidity debates that nobody can prove either way. Ever. You don't have the means to definitively prove it unless you go on your own personal journey and prove it to yourself. And then you'll find out you're in a simulation. It's only what you're seeing and hearing and feeling. The world outside of you doesn't exist. It's a stage prop. It's an illusion. It's the interactive game of life, part of the actual beauty of God's creation that allows us to walk our own paths at our own pace in our own time, and customizes our experiences to help us along those paths if we choose to be a seeker. Many people aren't. They're stagnant. They're dead. Sleepers. They're sleeping. The Bible talks about sleepers, and it's not talking about sleeping dead or sleeping, snoozing away. It is talking about sleeper in exactly the way I'm talking about it here. They are unaware. They are asleep. They are dead. They have not yet been awakened to who they really are, what this really is, and what it's all about. So, choose a side, because there is a side to choose. I've been through the middle path before. I spent many years in the middle path. I've been on the dark side before. Spent many years on the dark side. The darkest paths you could even imagine. Keep your faith, people, and don't fear. He doesn't want you to fear. You should never have fear. If you got him, there's nothing to fear. Not even the devil himself. Not the little gray aliens, not the spirits, and certainly not men. Stand up like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Walk in that furnace with confidence. Thanks for listening.